Hello and welcome to Running the Table, the podcast where we run through everything on the table in the world of sports. And it is playoff time again in the NFL. And for the first time in way too long of a time, we're going to be breaking down some NFL stuff, specifically why your favorite team is fraudulent. We're going to be breaking down the entire playoff field, starting with the NFC. It's been far too long. Tim, are you ready to go?
Hey, it's been a while, but happy to be back. Glad to get back into some stuff. So let's go. Let's run it.
Let's do it. So let's cover all of the stuff we missed from week 6 out to the rest of the season, starting with the 7th seed in the NFC, the Seattle Seahawks. They
Wouldn't told you
better,
that coming into the season.
yeah, right. They're thanking the Lions for beating the Packers and letting them in. And now they have earned a date to the San Francisco 49ers. And that's a scary, scary team. And Seattle, who would have guessed it that they trade Russell Wilson and then Geno Smith ends up being better? But the thing about Seattle that I want to get at is their defense. Their defense has been on the upswing as of late, and it's improving, but it's not where it needs to be. And that's going to be a really key flaw for them against the Niners.
Yeah, for this matchup specifically for the Seahawks, one thing is I haven't seen, I feel like I haven't seen enough out of DK Metcalf lately. He's been kind of quiet in these last couple of games. I guess he's been a little bit blanketed depending on the teams he's been facing. But you bring up the defense, and the big question mark that I think is not going to bode well for this matchup is Seattle's run defense. Their defense has been getting better, but the glaring issue is their run defense. And against a team like the 49ers, that's going to pose some issues because they run the ball well.
A tough first matchup and a tough road for Seattle. The next team we got is the 6th seed, the New York Giants, another team that, why are they there? How are they there?
Brian Dable.
Brian Dable is a hell of a coach because he took Daniel Jones and a receiver core of Darius Slayton, Isaiah Hodgins, Richie James, and Daniel Bellinger to the playoffs.
Hilariously that you can't even mention Kenny Golladay in that group.
No, I can't mention Kenny Golladay. $72 million per touchdown. Woohoo! But what we haven't mentioned yet, and what we really should mention, is the reemergence of Saquon Barkley.
That's been so beautiful.
The all-world running back. He's back to form. He's back to being one of the best in the league, and that has really impacted the Giants in a big way. But the question mark for me about the Giants is, do we really believe in Daniel Jones? Do we really believe in him, Tim?
It's tough because we have seen some good things out of him lately, but the thing that I worry about the most is when it comes playoff time, teams are going to
quit taking the gray area, Tim. I don't.
Teams know what you're going to like to do, and I know that the Giants are going to want to function through Saquon Barkley a lot. They're going to try to turn Daniel Jones into a pocket passing quarterback, and that's going to be the big test. That's where I'm not sure that they can overcome a team like Minnesota. And it's like, I don't know. It's tough. They have some good points in the team, and they've won a lot of games to get here. Congrats to them for that. But this is not a fantastic matchup for them to start. But crazier things have happened.
And see, here's the thing, Tim. They've struggled against the tougher competition. They're 2-7 against teams that are better than 500, including a loss against these Minnesota Vikings.
Easy schedule. They did have a very light schedule to get this record.
However, if there was a matchup that the Giants could win, it's this one. But more on the Vikings later. We'll move on to the 5 seed, the last of the wild card teams. Damn Cowboys. Monday night, Dak Prescott goes to Tampa Bay to take on Tom Brady, which I hate everything about that matchup. But Dallas is absolutely limping into the playoffs. Sam Howell absolutely owned the Cowboys, which how did that happen?
That's just depressing for them.
And the thing about the Cowboys for me is that they have potential to be great. They have so much talent on both sides of the ball, but they just take a revolver shotgun, point it at their foot, and pull the trigger. They just can't stop getting in their own darn way, especially Dak Prescott, who throws way too many interceptions, turns the ball over way too much, and that's going to be a big thing for him. Can he take care of the ball? I don't know.
Yeah, the two big things to highlight for this matchup in my mind, especially for specifically Dallas, is how is your defense going to match up against those top two receivers for Tampa Bay, because they had an amazing defense to start the year. That's what was winning them so many games early on. And then I don't know what exactly has happened, but their defense has just sort of gone quiet. And the
Especially
other
their
thing,
pass rush, which was so good at the beginning of the
yeah,
year. Now it's disappeared.
yeah, exactly. And the other question is, as you've pointed out, turnovers, because turnovers are going to speak volumes about the way that this playoff game turns out. Because if you turn the ball over 2-3 times against this Tampa Bay team, obviously Tampa Bay hasn't been star-studded for this whole year, but they're starting to come on a little bit as of late. And this is not a team that you want to start giving the ball to and giving more and more chances to.
Well, Tim, we'll talk about the Buccaneers in a minute, but a lot of negativity from us about the Cowboys. The one thing I will say about them
Recency bias is tough because they looked awful.
recency bias is really tough, and you need to get hot at the right time. But if you let this Dallas team get hot, they have potential to beat anybody in the league. But it's just a big question. Can they get out of their own way? But speaking of those Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I can't believe they
They're
get to
back.
host a playoff game because the NFC South is hot garbage. Tom Brady gets to host a playoff game, and it is going to be spoon fed down your throat, whether you like it or not. I'm going to be completely anti-Bucks here, and I don't give a damn. Don't count out Brady. Yeah, no, I am immediately counting him out because this team is old, this team is slow, this team is injured, and this team is not good. Tim, you say they've been coming on as of late. Their last two games is beating a Carolina team at home you had to come back against, led by Steve Wilks and Sam Darnold. Congratulations. And then they lost against the Falcons. I don't care if Tom Brady only played a half. You should not have lost to the Falcons by that much.
Yeah, I mean,
And the thing is
so
about this
concern.
matchup against Dallas, it's a coin flip.
Yeah. No, legitimate. It absolutely is. I think the big question mark, or a big key for the Bucks in this game is, what version of Leonard Fournette are you going to get? Because that has been very questionable over not only this later half of the season, but the season as a whole. He has had some fantastic games where he's looked great, and other times where he's just disappeared and he looks older, slower. And they need the run game to open up the pass game in this one. Because that, with the way that the Cowboys defense can be, their pass rush could have a field day with this Bucks offensive line.
Absolutely. The offensive line really needs to get healthy fast. And will playoff Lenny reappear? To be determined. Now let's move on to the NFC North champion Minnesota Vikings. God, that was hard to say out loud. I hate saying it, but they earned it with a 13-4 record.
Most of the year.
Yeah, but this is a team as boom or bust as it gets in the playoffs. You see they're 13-4, but if you look at the spread, they're favored by 3 points at home against the Giants, which is essentially even. There's a lot of luck that goes into this Vikings team. They've played great in the fourth quarter and overtime of ball games, but 11-0 in one-score games just isn't sustainable.
You're waiting for the one.
Yeah, when is the luck going to run out? When is the other shoe going to fall? And with the Vikings, they played a really tough game against the Giants earlier in the season, as we mentioned. So we just don't know. But what they need to do in order to have success is let Jettas cook. If the Vikings feed Jettas and get him going, if he gets him going,
yes,
and
then they're very, very dangerous.
Yeah, they're lucky that Jair Alexander isn't there to gritty all over him. But that's a different story. If you get Jettas going, the Vikings have a lot more success.
Yeah, honestly, the Vikings have a lot going for them, especially on the offensive side of the ball. You look at the weapons they have. Obviously, Kirk Cousins fills his specific role for that, what they need out of him in that offense very well. Like you said, if you get Justin Jefferson going, they can be one hell of an offense.
Lil Kirko.
Sure, yeah. But I love the emergence of TJ Hawkinson and what he's added to that offense, especially in the second half of the year. But the big question mark for them is, Obviously, the New York Giants aren't the best passing team in the world, but can the Vikings pass defense do enough? Because they have gotten exposed on multiple occasions throughout the year, and some of the games they've won just because their offense has been able to put up so many points. But that pass defense is definitely suspect at times. So we'll see how they react to the Giants in this one.
Let's talk about a team that actually isn't fraudulent, that actually we know what we're going to get for them. And that's the San Francisco 49ers. Such a breath of fresh air talking about an
Brock
actually
Purdy,
complete,
my
legitimate football
man.
team. Brock Purdy. He has
I
come
love that
in.
guy.
No Jimmy G, no Trey Lance, no problem. They've ripped off 10 consecutive games. But the one thing is, can he perform in the playoffs? They've done everything of him that they've asked. He's done it all. 5-0 as a starter. But I would be remiss if I didn't mention that no rookie has ever made the Super Bowl, let alone win it. So, right, the bar is really low with how good this 49ers team is. And if Brock Purdy can step up to the bar and raise it a little bit more and meet the challenge, the 49ers will be absolutely dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. We've said this in the past, similarly with the type of quarterback that Jimmy G is when he's healthy. The 49ers offense and their scheme doesn't really ask you to be a superstar, crazy, athletic, wild throws type of quarterback. And Brock Purdy's been pretty much exactly what they've needed to for him to be so far. Like you said, playoffs is an entire different atmosphere. We have no history of what we might be able to expect from Brock Purdy. He's obviously brand new to all of this. But with how good that 49ers defense is and the amount of talent that he has on the offensive side of the ball to distribute with, it's hard to imagine, in my mind, from what we've seen from so far, it's hard for me to imagine him completely falling on his face. But the question is, will he do enough in a close game? Because they haven't had very many close games, if I'm not mistaken, in those first 5 starts for him, because of the fact that their defense has kept him out of so many games. But when it comes down to a close game, fourth quarter, final drive to win the game, get in field goal range, how are you going to react? What type of player are you going to be? That's going to be the test.
Bang, bang, Niner gang. They're thinking Super Bowl or bust. Like
They
the
got
one
the talent
seed,
for it.
the Philadelphia Eagles, who are sitting at home for the wild card weekend. They have earned the first round bye with a 14-3 record. And this is one of the most complete teams in football, if not the most complete team. They have talent at every position group, and then they went and added veterans in the middle of the season to give them depth if one of those guys gets hurt or falters. Now, Jalen Hurts being healthy is absolutely huge because we saw the difference when Jalen Hurts was running the show versus Gardner Minshew.
Yeah.
It's night and day. Jalen Hurts is an MVP candidate. He is a special, special quarterback now that he is playing up to his full potential. But the Eagles down the stretch haven't been too great. They've been really shaky. And in a league where you need to get hot at the right time, the Eagles have not, which is why the bye week is so huge, because it allows Jalen Hurts' shoulder to rest up a little bit more, and it allows them to regroup.
Yeah, for sure. Getting their team as healthy as possible is 100% necessary for them because they were high flying when they were fully healthy. And that obviously starts with Jalen Hurts. But another big thing for them is I really think that they want to try to get this run game going again. Because when their passing offense wasn't necessarily on its A game with Jalen Hurts out and Gardner Minshew at the helm, the run offense is something that they really want to try to be able to fall back on, but not only fall back, is that's what helps open up so much of that passing game. That's when they are at their best, is when you can get Miles Sanders going 4-5 yards per carry. That opens up so many different types of plays, and a lot of different things that they can do on the offensive side of the ball. So they're the 1 seed for a good reason. They're a fantastic team, but it's whether they'll be able to keep up and be that same type of team when the divisional round comes.
But that's all we have for our NFC breakdown. We're going to split this up into 2 parts, the NFC and the AFC. So that will be coming next. Tim, it's great to be back.
Yes, sir. You know it is.
So we're going to be bringing you content all throughout the playoffs and hopefully further than that. So like and subscribe for more of us. Go watch our old videos because we do have stuff that we made a while ago. And until next time, we out.